Hello, beautiful students. This is pretty much just a couple steps in helping you write your research paper. Please take out a sheet of paper and make sure that you have a proper heading at the top and that you are taking notes. Please feel free to write questions down or comments down and make sure to turn these notes in tomorrow when you come to class. So step number one, selecting a topic. So when we're beginning our research paper, we're going to pick something that number one interests us, and that's appropriate. And so selecting a topic, we want to pick a topic and make an outline for it. How does this topic spell out in a paper? What's going to be our first point? What's going to be our second point? What's going to be our third point? Constructing a thesis and choosing what you actually want to write about. What is the intention? What is the goal you want the reader to get out of this paper? Narrowing down the subject. Limit or narrow down your subject. Usually we start off with a really broad question. How does immigration affect America? That's super, super broad. I can tell you want to write about immigration. I can tell you want to write about it in like how it affects America. Now let's get really, really specific. Choosing your purpose. And so pretty much there's two choices, to explain something or to persuade something. We want to make sure that we're stating a claim. And so pretty much our purpose is kind of to persuade, not necessarily like through a persuasive letter kind of thing, but we want to make sure that we're stating our claim and then proving it throughout our paper. 4 steps to selecting a topic. We just talked about them. So the next bubble, step 2, find sources. So we've begun this. With your topic, you want to think about how all of your information relates to it. And so you'll find different sources, how to go through that. Pretty much there's different sources out there. We've talked about this. We want to stick with sources through Google Scholar, SIRS, those that end in edu or organization, org. But we want to look at the author. What are the qualifications of the author? What is the publication, and is it a good publication? Support. How reliable is the support? So if they're presenting any facts or research, how are they backing that up? What research are they finding? And then the date. When was it published? We really don't want to be taking anything probably past 2010 unless it's for like historical purposes because it's probably just too old and there's new research to be found since then. Step number 2. Step number 3, make a list of your sources. And so we've started that through our annotation and through collecting our sources. We are making a list of our sources that we can pick from. So, and maybe we've talked about a bibliography. Pretty much that's what we're working on right now. And then just making sure that your works cited page has started to take form. Taking notes, talked about this through our annotation, having some quotes, writing a summary, writing down the relevance. How does this relate to my topic? Why am I finding this source interesting? Step number 5, refine your thesis and outline. So think about, now that you've looked through your research, you've looked through different ideas, you've made an outline, think about what you actually want to write about. Maybe your outline is going to take a different shape, or maybe you're going to redefine your thesis, and that's totally okay. That's part of the process. Step number 6, write your first draft. So elements to make sure that you're checking your draft and just making sure that it's the best first draft it can be. Plagiarism, just making sure that you are not plagiarizing anything. Everything copied has quotation marks. If you're paraphrasing things, make sure it's rewritten. And then also, just to be sure and safe, you want to cite it at the end. Parenthetical references, identifying the exact source and location of each statement, fact, and original idea borrowed from another person. And then references to articles and books. Just make sure that you're citing and mentioning the author and in the text that you're writing, just to make sure you're not paraphrasing or plagiarizing anything. Step number 5, revise your first draft. Write and rewrite as many times as you need. Coherent language. Does your paper make sense? Unity. And so just make sure, here, I'll click on all of them so we can see all of them. This is a really good thing to write down. It's honestly a really good thing to use as a checking off point when you're looking at your paper several times. Is it coherent? Is it using language that's formal? Are you saying I? Are you saying can't? Are you using slang? Those things have no place here. Unity. Do your paragraphs make sense? Are you using topic sentences and transition sentences? Do you need support with that? Maybe that's a lesson request that you put in. Emphasis. That means that are you backing up your ideas and are you using kind of fun vocabulary? Support. Making sure that you're supporting your information with research that is scholarly. And then do you have complete sentences that make sense together? And are your sentences varied, or does everything start with additionally or the? Vary it up. Correcting problems is really important. Capitalization, omitting anything that doesn't need to be in there, making sure your punctuation is correct, and going through spell check and looking through it yourself. A really good way to test out if your paper really makes sense is to read it out loud. That's what I do. Step number 8, prepare your works cited section. And then step number 9, writing your final draft. So this will be after you've conferenced with me, you've talked with a peer. Do you have a proper heading? Don't worry about a title page. Do you have your thesis and outline? Do you have your actual essay, your research paper? And then do you have a list of sources, which is your works cited page? And that is it for the 10 steps to writing a research paper. Please let me know if you have any questions, write them down. I look forward to our check-in. Have a great night.